Alright, hello guys, how's it going? In today's video, we're going to be taking a look here at our severe weather today. We have 3 days of upcoming severe weather at least, and we know a lot more today than we even knew yesterday. There's also multiple major storms expected across the United States, including potential flooding in the eastern United States with multiple inches of rainfall for pretty much the south and the northeast. We need to talk about all of these things within this video. Anyways, before I get started with this video though, I would ask that you do subscribe if you do like weather related content. Also leave a like down below and leave a comment down below for that YouTube algorithm. For today's comment of the day, I want to know, are you buying this brutal cooldown later on in the pattern, or do you think that it's actually going to end up kind of subsiding over time as we get closer and closer? Because I will tell you this, back in, I want to say February, maybe earlier February, we thought we saw a very brutal cold pattern. But over time, the models just got a lot more warm with it, and eventually it just ended up being not a whole lot of anything. And already from yesterday to today, we've seen them kind of subside that cold air a little bit. So what are your thoughts? Are we going to really see a brutal cooldown, or is it not going to be so brutal once we get there? Let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be picking one of those for tomorrow's video. Let's get straight into this video. First things first. We have a lot of storminess here to talk about over the north central United States and also over the western United States. Now, this area of storminess here is all kind of related, you could say. We have a lot of snowfall and rainfall going on. Out west is very interesting. I'll touch on that in a minute, but we do have a lot of thunder happening in here. Thunder and lightning, as you can see, Nebraska, Kansas, Iowa, Missouri, Minnesota, Wisconsin. This is actually good news. I'll also explain that in a minute. And then we have some snowfall happening up here in Michigan and Wisconsin. Can't really say that's good news, but it just depends how you guys feel about it up there. Now let's move up to the southwest here, where we have some showers moving down the west coast. We have some snow showers here over the Sierra Nevadas there. We have some areas here in Arizona with some snowfall showers, also in northern New Mexico, and then also in Colorado here. So it's pretty spotty, I will say. We have a lot more consistent snowfall once you move up to Nevada here, and then the northern Sierra Nevadas there are really dealing with quite a bit of that snowfall. All right, now we do have some snowfall and rainfall happening over Utah here, southern Idaho, a lot of Wyoming. We're seeing quite a bit of snowfall in this region, and it's actually building in further. I guess you could say this entire region here has the most consistent snowfall. Colorado, Wyoming, and Montana, as well as areas in South Dakota and Nebraska as well, right near our thunderstorms. And as we head further north, you can see this area is actually kind of dissipating up here further north. Now, when we take a little bit more of a zoomed out look, the interesting thing here, to me, was just seeing the flow of these storms. It's so interesting and wacky. It almost feels like it's doing like, I'm moving the arrows where it seems like everything's heading. And you can tell there's just a lot of different things going on here. That it's just very odd. The different movements. Now you can kind of look at any of these, and it does appear like everything's kind of moving in the direction I pointed out from the areas that I pointed out. It's just so weird seeing all these different directions and all these moving pieces. You usually see like a flow, at least in one singular direction with some rotation, but this is just all over the place here, guys. It's so messy, and this is why I always say the West is the hardest to forecast for. It's because things like this that happen that are so wacky, it truly is very, very odd at times, for sure. Sometimes it's very easy, though. Now, we have a lot of thunderstorms going on here, and you guys heard me say this is good news. Why is this good news? Well, this is where we have a slight risk of severe weather throughout the day today, and that's going to be later today. You guys hear me talk about CAPE, convective available potential energy. We have to look at it almost like a consumable fuel or food, like I call it. I call it thunderstorm fuel or thunderstorm food. That's because these thunderstorms actually consume it and become stronger, but then behind those storms, there's less CAPE available now. And thunderstorms do need CAPE in general to develop. So these thunderstorms being here earlier in the morning helps because they're eating up CAPE in order to build up. We can see a lot of lightning and thunder here, so they have eaten some CAPE at least. And that's going to leave less CAPE later on today for those thunderstorms that come later. So usually when you see this happening before a severe weather event, that is usually good news. And not only that, but also the cloudiness and the storminess being in the area as the sun rises, which it's a little early now, but if we can get some of these to linger, that also leads towards a little bit of some colder temperatures usually because the sun isn't reaching the ground, which also reduces some of that chance of severe weather typically. So those are two things about this that is basically good news right now. So let's keep our fingers crossed that kind of stays that way. Now we do have the snowfall here and kind of mixed precipitation, I would say, here for northern Wisconsin there, and then the upper peninsula of Michigan. And that is quite heavy in some spots. A lot of that freezing rain as well is in the heaviest pockets, so we have to hope that it's not causing any major impacts there. But ice can be very, very nasty, obviously. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to move on, and we're going to talk about that model guidance in just a moment. We're going to go over these upcoming major storms, because it is going to be stormy for quite a while here, and then we're going to talk about that either major Arctic blast that we're going to or not going to see. We're going to go over that as well, and then we're going to take a look at the Storm Prediction Center, where we can now see all 3 days of severe weather in their categorical outlook. All right, now here we are taking a look at that model guidance, and I'm just going to move this ahead a tiny bit. You can see this snowfall out west that we've been talking about. Our low pressure system is a little bit further west than that, about there. A little bit of a cold front developing underneath, a bit of a warm front up here, and it's mostly in here where we're taking a look at a severe weather threat today. We will take a look at the Storm Prediction Center outlook for day 1, 2, and 3 at the end of this video, so stay tuned for that. But we do expect that storminess in here for sure as things move along. Mostly earlier in the day, but throughout the day there will be a severe weather threat. This low pressure system actually drops quite a bit, 994 here, trying to drop a cold front. There we see plenty of ice here on the northern end of this, and then also snow surrounding it. So here and here and here. This drawing gets a little bit dangerous sometimes, guys. We can see later on Sunday what we see happen is this low pressure system has moved out so fast, okay, so fast that one's already gone, and we have another one developing here, and this is actually what's going to bring the day 2 severe weather threat as we see these storms popping up. By the time we reach Monday, this is going to be Monday morning, we see this low pressure system has moved up to here, cold front's about there, warm front's about there, and we can see that this low pressure system moves north there and lingers a huge cold front underneath, and that is what's bringing all of that potential severe weather in there for Monday, March 7th. So that's the 3-day kind of outlook here. Then we get some storminess building in the southeast. That is something we've been watching, and then also the northwest. So we have some snowfall up here, some rainfall down here. See how that progresses. This does become a bit of a minor snowstorm, and we do get some thunderstorm activity potentially with this one for the southeast. This snowstorm dips down, so really this could bring a lot of snowfall to those regions. And as you can see, it actually builds up into here as well over time, so that is definitely worth noting. That low pressure system eventually moves all the way out, does have a bit of a cold front underneath, and that does bring some snowfall here on the back end of things. Very brutal cold air located in here. Jet stream's doing about this right now, so huge ridge in the east, and then a huge trough out west there. So that is kind of what we're looking at by this frame. This is going to be Friday, March 11th. And then by the 12th, it has this low pressure system that has, 2 main areas of low pressure, but the primary one is actually here. And on the back end of this, there's definitely snowfall inland here by this point, as you can see. Tons and tons of that snowfall actually, and that eventually pushes out with that jet stream out that way. And what we're left with is a bit of a trough in the east. Now, the one thing I will say is this looks a lot less major, this Arctic blast / trough, as opposed to even just yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, we were looking at potentially the coldest air of the year. It was centered a little bit more over the east, because the interesting thing here is that if I draw the jet stream, you can see it's not off the east coast. We have this warm air built in here that is standing its ground. And this cold air mass has to kind of move around that. So that warm air is too dominant for it on this model run, and it just cannot be moved. And you can see that really it never really establishes itself, especially not in the southeast. We still have warm air here, and especially here. So That is the current look. Then we get the jet stream like this. We have some storminess here in the northwest. Likely this might disrupt the flow. Usually that's what we would end up seeing happen. Yeah, so we get the trough centered right here because of this storminess in here. We have a little bit up here as well, but really things get quieter as we get into this pattern, but definitely the jet stream is doing something like this, and this would also bring much warmer air to the east, much colder air right here. And that would be the look by the time we're reaching the long range on this model. Now you see me put potential for flooding on the thumbnail. Let's take a look at that total rainfall. Okay, that's not the total rainfall. Let's take a look at the 0Z total rainfall. Great. So, if you're anywhere in the grays, it's basically like minimal amounts of rainfall over the next 10 days. This is the 240-hour outlook, so this is the next 10 days. Greens are even going to be quite minimal. Greens are going to be half an inch and below. Blues will be half an inch to an inch, which still isn't really a ton for a 10-day period. But it's the yellows into the oranges. So kind of like in here, these oranges that we're seeing, hard to see. That's going to be an inch to about 2 inches. And then reds will be 2 to 6 inches. And down here in the southeast in here, those kind of browns that are showing up, that is 5 to 10 inches of rainfall. So yes, in the east here, this entire region here, there is potential for flooding at times over the next 10 days. I am eyeballing that potential. Let's look at the total snowfall. We have to move back to the 0. No, we don't. Okay, it's already here. Great. Over the next 10 days, all the way to March 15th, if you're anywhere in the grays, you have a dusting of anything. Blues will be 2 to 6 inches of snowfall. Purple will be 6 to 10. Pinks will be 10 to 20. Pastel blues will be 20 to 30. And then some of those darker pastel kind of purple colors, that is where we're going to be at about 30 to even 48 inches of snowfall or more. That's mostly going to be reserved there for the Rockies and the Cascades, as you can see, and then up into Canada. Now let's take a look at those individual days for the severe weather. Here's the day 1 categorical outlook, and this has gotten a lot bigger. We have 2 areas of general thunderstorm risks here in the light green, which is where we don't expect severe weather, but it is possible. But they generally expect just thunderstorms, hence the general thunderstorm risk. Now we have this darker green region, and that's going to be our marginal risk. We still don't necessarily expect severe weather for every single spot in here, but there could be some isolated reports of severe weather taking place there in the darker green. The yellow is going to be the slight risk, and that's where we expect scattered severe weather to potentially take place. Likely won't be widespread, but a lot of areas in here will be scattered in with some severe weather reports likely. Now, as we get into the individual outlooks, here's the wind outlook. And if you're in the green, that's going to be a 5% chance of damaging wind within 25 miles of a given location. The yellows there will be 15% chance of damaging wind. Hail here is going to be the same percentages. It's just a little bit smaller here. Green is 5%. Yellow is 15% there. Tornado risk is going to be a 2% chance of tornadoes within 25 miles of a given location there within the green, and then a 5% chance of tornadoes within 25 miles of a given location there within the brown. Then for day 2 here, so this is going to be for Sunday, tomorrow, from the time I'm making this video, we have 2 marginal risks here. I just noticed this. We have one there for like the Adirondacks in upstate New York, and then one down here for the south central United States. But we have one big general thunderstorm risk here for all of these regions. If you're anywhere in the marginal risks, here I'm underlining them, we can see, again, isolated severe weather is possible, but not necessarily likely. It's most of this big yellow region where we're watching for scattered in severe weather to take place within that area. And with both of these slight risks, actually all 3 that we're going to see today for Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, I think all of them have the chance to go up to an enhanced, but it's not guaranteed that any of them will. So it's kind of out in the open that it could go up to an enhanced, but it's not necessarily likely or unlikely at this point. It's just possible. So we'll have to wait and see on that. Now, we do have the individual outlooks for this one as well. So let's take a look at the wind. 5% chance within 25 miles of a given location there within the 2 green regions, one there for New York, one there for the south central United States, and then 15% chance there within 25 miles of a given location there within the yellow. Now, for the hail risk, we don't have any of that for New York, so that's mostly a wind risk up there in New York. But for the south central United States, we do have a 5% chance of hail within 25 miles of a given location there within the green. Now, tornadoes, we also don't have any of that for New York there, but we do have a 2% chance within 25 miles of a given location there of tornadoes within that green region. That includes Dallas and Fort Worth, by the way, and all of Arkansas. But also that brown is a 5% chance within 25 miles of their given location there with of tornadoes. So that's also pretty elevated risk that we're looking at there. Now for day 3, Monday, that's going to be March 7th. Here's the categorical outlook. We have that large marginal risk there for the Gulf states all the way up into the Ohio Valley and portions of the Mid-Atlantic. And then we have that yellow, that big slight risk there for Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, a little bit of North Carolina there, Tennessee, Kentucky, a little bit of Virginia, a lot of West Virginia, and then a tiny bit of southern Ohio there. This could grow or look different by the time we're reaching this date. I think the slight risk could get larger, and then we could see an enhanced risk on this date as well. There's a lot going on, guys. 3 days of at least slight risk of severe weather. Very, very intense weather going on right now, and we're going to track all of it with you guys. Unfortunately, I'm going to be very busy this weekend. It just kind of lined up really bad for me, so I'm not going to be going live. If it was a moderate or high risk, obviously I probably would have moved things around to be able to go live for you guys, but unfortunately, I would love to be going live, but I will not be able to do so. Anyway, for today's confidence tab, we remain at a 4 out of 6. Yeah, that's what we're at. For today's comment of the day, I asked you guys, do you think any of these will go above a slight risk and move into enhanced or more? And James Moore said, I believe Saturday has potential to be above a slight risk, which is today, by the way. But Sunday and Monday will stay at a slight risk. I think any of them could go up to an enhanced risk, but I think that's an interesting prediction there by James Marr. For today's patron highlight of the day, I want to thank you all for supporting the channel, but especially our platinum patrons, Bill Crates, James Wade, Dovin Nagel, Lila Pan, Mandy Birchfield, Patrick Strickland, Dave Scott, and Donna Carnes as well. I would also like to thank our diamond patrons, Bill Roberts, Marcus Connolly, Noah Harley, Mikuta, Lessa Catbite, Charles Stinnett, Bill Dallas, Gary's, and John Khaleesi also. I would also like to thank our channel members, Catbite, Stephen Finn, and Jeremy Cox as well. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Be sure to smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe for more weather-related content. I'll see you guys in the next video.